All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite warlock here, practicing necromancer. And I wasn't planning to do any videos until next week, the new year. But something's come up, and even though I'm still planning on beginning working with Belial, Belial, starting Sunday, fitting since that's considered the day of the Lord, so to speak, according to the JCI. And this year, the 1st of January literally kicks off on Sunday. Ironic, isn't it? So it's like the ultimate blasphemy and rebellion if you think about it, especially when working with Belial, depending on the spelling and everything. So, anyways, we're we just completed Yule. Okay. Now the time of Yule is about cleansing. It's about ridding yourself of the negative impacts in your life over the year. And it's kind of like putting to death old things and getting ready to create again. And it's fitting because of the fact that when we look at Belial, for an example, one of the things that he does is he is the breaker of chains. Okay. And that's a key word. That's a key phrase right there. Breaker of chains. He is the destroyer. Basically, he is the betrayer. Well, when I first heard the term betrayer, and that was actually written in this one here. Okay, that was written in this one here, and it was basically I am the betrayer is the term that was the phrase that was used, and it was in here in the later part of the book. I want to say it was under evocation. Yeah, yeah, right here, page 77. I do not desire destruction. I am the betrayer, and I am turning against all that has turned against me. Key phrase right there, page 77. Grimoire of Belial. Now, this kind of caught me, I wouldn't say by surprise, but it kind of got me thinking about what has been transpiring over the last 2 months. Okay. Literally the last 2 months of my life, and longer than that, really. And this is a personalized journey for me because of the fact that since I became a necromancer 6 years ago, I've really been pulling away from toxic and toxic people. I've been restructuring my life. I was structuring, building creating a home for me and my family. Okay, and it turned out that was not the case because um number one, yes, I found who my friends are and who my enemies are, and those who are just leeches, but it was more than that. Things that I thought were were good for me turned out to be toxic, and it was habits that I kept repeating, and I wanted to get rid of them. So I went to my temple and I petitioned the spirits that I work with. And I said, "Hey, I want these chains broken. I don't want to continue making the same mistakes." I want what's good for me and my evolution, my knowledge, and, my growth. But at the same time, I do want what's best for me and my son. And most importantly, if his mother's involved or not. And it was ironic because of the fact that she cheated on me again. And I told her, leave the keys behind. Just get the fuck out. Well, where am I supposed to go? I don't give a flying fuck. That's breaking chains right there. That is breaking chains and putting things into perspective. An elder of mine once told me, he betrays you, uses your goodwill, so to speak. How do you feel when your time is being wasted by ingrates? These are things that I've had to come to terms with over the last 6 years. Okay. Now that my son is 5, let's just say, she ended up going back to church and hanging out with her family, and all of a sudden terminology starts coming forth. I'm evil. Things I do are satanic. These are words coming out of a 5-year-old. So it kind of makes you think, who in our lives would believe that? Who in our lives would believe this? Didn't take long to figure out where those terms came from. Did not take long. Her parents, the zealots. Because this shift in my son's personality did not start taking place until she started hanging back out with her family. All of a sudden, she's wanting to move out. All of a sudden, the relationship that we had for the last 6 years was toxic, even though we never argued. No hostilities towards each other. We basically scheduled an argument once a month, so to speak. As a joke. And it was, kind of interesting that way. My mother ended up having her heart attack, triple bypass. You know, my now ex, cheated on me yet again, and so forth. And all of this stuff has come down over the last few years. And most recently, this occurred. So I started delving into back into what I always do, demonology. And I was thinking, how can I take my practices to another level? And this started back in August. And as you know, I took the exams, I did the tests and everything, and I became an archbishop, um, an ordained archbishop, nonetheless. And it's kind of ironic because in Asian mythology, a dark bishop works for demons, which is kind of funny because every aspect going back hundreds of thousands of years, there's literally evidence of priesthoods working for both the light and the dark. So it was kind of fitting. So hey, Pharaoh Stiller. I knew you were there. I was trying to finish my thoughts here. Um, but I did want to greet you. So, anyways, over the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of people coming to me and asking, "Hey, are you going to put with all the essays that you're writing? Are you going to be putting forth a book? Are you going to be doing a new series? What do you got planned?" And then I had somebody say, "Hey, have you considered the what do you think of this series?" Meaning the gatekeepers. Now, as I said, as you know, I'm not a big fan of Balk, but it doesn't mean I don't respect the practitioners because I do. So I decided starting January 1st, I'm going to do all nine. And it's going to take roughly about 2.25 years. That's 2 full years in 3 months. Okay. Because you're working with nine entities and you're working with each one for roughly around 3 months. Daily rituals and rites, daily communions and prayers and worships and doing sacrifices and offerings and spending a lot of time right in that temple. And my temple is literally right over here to my right. So I started with Belial because Belial or Belial is somebody that I really worked with in the past, and I really liked working with him. He's the giver of titles of importance. He in fact, he's the reason why I have Bella, because he guided me to her and her to me. And we've been together ever since, and that's been over just about 10, 12 years, you know. It's just about. She's an old girl, she's an old girl. Roughly about, what was she, like 6 months when I found her? Because I was down in Tucson at the time. I came to Maine, went back down to the Southwest, ended up in Hicksville, Clarksville, Texas, and we call it redneck location because they're hillbillies um, down that way. Old school masonry and Catholic and Bishop, Baptist and all that stuff down that way. And Red River County is extremists, if you will. And so, the zealotry. And so I ended up in Clarksville, and that's how I met Bella. We were walking back. A friend of mine and I were walking back from the bank, which was literally 2.25 miles. Ironically, 2.25 miles yet again. Wow. Um, from where we were living there on Main Street, and came across the kittens at the gym, and we ended up taking three of them off their hands. So Um, Bella has been with me for a very, very long time, and I owe that to Belial, Belial. And so he's done a lot in my life in the past, and I think it's fitting that I begin with him. And since he is the first out of that series, not just because he's the first, but because he's considered to be royalty, you know. So I want to start with him, and so as I'm doing this, I'm sitting here. I've got like literally 2 pages worth of notes, getting, re-familiarizing myself with him and what he's capable of doing. And because I've told Divas that I want to do it the exact same way as EA Koetting did it. I want to understand if I'm going to do this series, I want to do it the way he did it. He's the top of the food chain in that, or that organization. So I want to do it the exact same way as him. Okay. So I'm not going to sit there and, dip a toe in. I'm not going to sit there and go, I wonder if I should do this. No, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to do the rites and the rituals, and I'm going to fully immerse myself within the system. So, but we're also upon Yule, which is why I chose not to start this until January. So, anyways, here we are, Tuesday, literally Tuesday, the 27th of December, almost halfway between Christmas and New Year's. And this hits me. This literally hits me out of nowhere. I went in last night lit the candle, a single candle, meditating. I lit the incense, charcoal, the incense sticks. I had um, binary type music playing. Ironically, it was Baleos from Kravitz channel there, and it was I was trying different things and been trying different things the last few days. Just you know, trying to find the best thing for me as a practitioner because if I'm going to work with Belial, 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 I want to work with his music. I want to different things from the demonic ends to the mantras. And I want to find out what's going to work with me as a necromancer because I never worked with him as a necromancer before. So this is going to be new for me. I've worked with him as a Satanist. I've worked with him as a demonolator. And now I'm going to be working with him as a necromancer. So this is going to be quite an interesting series. Um, just working with the nine demonic gatekeepers. And so I'm in there. I don't know. I couldn't get into a meditative state. I couldn't relax fully last night. And I don't know why. I really don't. It was just something on my mind. It was like my body had so much energy moving through. And I started thinking about toxicity. And I said, it's Yule. It's a time of Yule. I want to put to death all that negativity. I want the things that don't matter. I want gone. I just want it gone. I don't want it in my life no more. And then I became violently ill for about 4 hours, about 3, 4 hours. And I'm talking, to the point where you want to puke your guts out. You're shitting your brains out, so to speak. And it was interesting. It was like that's the type of violently ill, gnosis that I'm trying to put forth here because that's what took place. And I was dizzy, I was lightheaded. So I went to bed about 10:30 last night. I wanted to stay up until after midnight, get, between midnight and 3 anti, 3 meridian. And I wanted to do some rites and rituals early this morning, but that did not happen. So I know now that because I said I wanted to get rid of all this negativity, I wanted to get rid of all this stuff. And one of the key things that Eric put forth, EA Coetic, because I'm actually on Skype in a group with both Divas and EA and a few others, quite a few others. I think there's like 11 people right now that's in that chat. Um, it was interesting because of the fact that he said to let the anger guide you, so to speak. And I'll bring it up real fast so I can use the exact words that he put forth. Let me get underneath my phone real fast and I can go underneath my Skype account. Oop, wrong one. Hate that when that happens. Okay, I said mostly through the grimoire of Belial. Many notes taken preparing for a 3-month journey with the first gatekeeper. And he actually shared this, in the same group. And he says, honestly, not really. There is no anticipating Belial. Let your rage be your guide. Okay, that's his advice to me. So, and ironically, I understand that because I was thinking about last night and how so much was being rejected and regurgitated and just flat out disposed of. And ironically, my ex was one of them because she actually called in around that time, and it's like she wanted me she literally wanted me to get dressed and go over to Dunkin' Donuts, get her drink and take it to her because she's at work. And it's like if you're getting ready to go on your lunch break, why don't you just drive across the river and get it yourself? You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to go to Hannaford when you can go to one place, get dinner and a drink that you want? Why go to six different places? You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that she does. So this is one of those negative things that really infuriates me. So again, we're going right back into that anger and that frustration. So, and I was thinking about when I was in there, I was trying to chant and I was trying to do a mantra. And as I was speaking it, it was that tone. It was almost like it separated hormonally speaking into almost like various different voices. It was split into like 2, 3 different tones of voice. Very interesting, very, very interesting. But when I came out, it was my stomach felt weird, my head was, like I said, was dizzy. So I laid down on the bed, and like I said, I laid down on the bed and I was just trying to relax and figure out what the hell's going on because it was like bubbles coming up at the same time. And this normally happens with possession, especially voluntary possession, because it's that side effects. I've experienced it before, but this was completely different. Anger, rage, and then I was sitting here and I came across that passage, the betrayer. If you rebel and you fight, we will fight with you. I will fight with you. And I read that passage from EA. Wow. You consider Christians hate me because I call them out on their bullshit. I put my son's mother's mother, I put my ex's mother in her place because she attacked her daughter when we first got together, just after our son was born. Then she turned her attention to our son, a month to 2 months old, forced him to go through things that no newborn should have to go through, to be subjected to. To this day, he still does not trust doctors, dentists, or anything. And then she targeted me. And it's been about me ever since. You see, I don't have a problem with the religion. I have the problem with the people that practice these religions. What does it mean to rebel? What does it mean to become a rebel? We know in the United States there are groups that literally have told the in fact that I'm actually subscribed to an individual that was an ex-government employee that started his own YouTube channel, and all of a sudden he's been red flagged as a terrorist because he speaks out on certain topics. A rebel. When you look at those that are betraying you and you choose to betray them in return, in reply, basically, if you want to continue betraying me, guess what? We're not going to be friends. I'm not going to associate with you. I'm cutting you off. I will become your adversary. That's what happens. So, ever since my son moved out with his mother, he has not wanted to spend time here at my apartment. He would rather go between his mother's house and my mother's house, and he really doesn't want to go out to her family's house, but she forces the issue. Again, you're seeing that habit, you know, that habit of this is what's going on. So, with all of this stuff coming down, thinking about just that very term, the betrayer, I will fight against those that fight against me. Those who have betrayed me, I will fight them. Breaking those chains. I mean, you consider just what Belial represents. Number one, he's the teacher, the breaker of chains, the worthless one, he who has no master, the giver of familiars, giver of titles of importance, and he's the betrayer, the betrayed. Wow, no wonder I worked with him in the past. There was just something about him that I enjoyed working with in the past, and he was one of a small handful of beings that I worked with a lot in the past. And so to start off working with him next week, just on Sunday, for the following 3 months, is going to be an honor. It is going to be an honor and it's going to be a privilege to work with him, especially since he has already begun enlightening me yet again in the ways of darkness, in the ways of the abyss. What does it mean to be a rebel? What does it mean to be a betrayer? What does it mean to break the ties that bind? Okay, what does it mean to be all these things? And like I said, I've been cleaning out my closet. I've been meditating and preparing, doing research, and he hits me last night with this. uh, in nomine don in nomine spiritus domini mundi est Belial. Magnificent. Magnificent. That's all I gotta say. Magnificent. I can see why he is a warrior. He's seen and viewed as a warrior in armor. I can see why he has the reputation that he has. And you know what? I gladly stand with Belial. I will gladly be that rebellion. I will gladly do what is needed. Because I look back over my life and I look at how much death has been in my life. I look at how many times I've been betrayed by those that I called friend. I look at all those, well, technically betrayed comes in many forms. Mostly I've been betrayed by women. Secondly, I've been betrayed by employers. And third, friends, those that I called friends. So to see how far I've come in just 6 years, 6 years is amazing. The best thing I ever did was begin breaking the ties that bind, breaking those habits, ridding myself of the things that don't matter, ridding myself of the distractions, ridding myself of the toxicity in my life. And here I am getting ready to work with Belial once again. Every time I work with this spirit, every freaking time, he brings gnosis to my life. The teacher effect, the breaker of chains, the darkness, the worthless one. And I look at the jobs I've had over the last few years and what these spirits have done in my life personally. From ridding all those that's been at the workplace longer, giving my enemies heart attacks, to just simply flat out removing them from being an obstacle. Going from one job to another. It's like a snap of the finger. I went in November 15th to get a coffee. I called over to a shift lead and I said, "Hey, you guys hiring?" "Yeah, we're hiring." Scanned it. An hour and a half to 2 hours later, district manager on the phone with me. An hour and a half later, same freaking day, I was hired on the spot. These doors are opening. Things are getting back on track. You see, this is what happens when you listen to the lessons being put forth by these spirits. So the question is, what is he going to bring this time over the next 3 months? What is he going to teach me? What is he going to enlighten me on? He's already begun removing things from my life, making me aware of other chains that need to be broken. And the funny thing is, I was out at my mother's Christmas Day just a few days ago. His mother showed up, and I, it was one of those thoughts, I didn't even think about it, and I referred to her. When you're in a relationship for a long time, you end up getting pet names, so to speak, like Babe or Hun or, you know, whatever. Every culture has a different type of, relationship type thing, and I called her Babe by accident. I'm like, son of a bitch, you know. This is another chain that needs to be broken because she and I are no longer together. And I gotta say, I look forward to working with Belial once again. I look forward to the gnosis that he brings over the next 3 months and what he's going to do in my life personally. Not just what I can do for him and his kingdom, his domain. What can I do for him as much as he does for me? Because it is that mutual beneficial relationship. So it's going to be interesting and I do look forward to it. But I wanted to come under here and kind of tell you that the lessons of the spirits, the demonic, the demurge, doesn't matter if it's Hermetics, doesn't matter if you're working with the ancestral lineages, such as Vudan, Santeria, Pelo. It doesn't matter if it's Brujeria, Lukumi, Umbanda, Umbanda. Doesn't matter if it's Santa Morte, Satanism. These spirits will guide you and they will teach you. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Started last night because I have been in that ritual room and doing research for the better part of the last week. And all of a sudden, when I petitioned, when I didn't petition anything. I simply made the statement, the verbal confirmation. I want to get rid of all, all toxicity, all negativity from my life, so that I can work with you, so I can begin anew in this path, to grow, to mature, to evolve, because that's what this path, the left hand path, is about. It is not about dogma, it is not about drama, it is not about right or wrong, good or evil. It is about your personal journey into enlightenment. And you know what? Just by reflecting upon my life alone, it's mind blowing to see how these spirits, you take just for an example, 6 years. That's what I was reflecting on. 6 years. These spirits took me back to 2009. 2009. And then again to age 8. All within a couple of weeks worth of reflection and meditation. But there's a difference by sitting there going, "Hey, I petition you. I petition you to come in and remove this stuff." No, you can petition their aid, but until you are ready to do this, you're going to be in the shit. You're going to be in the dogma. You're going to be in the drama. Well, speaking of Skype, somebody's on there. Ironic. But anyways, yeah. So I've been reflecting upon the spirits that I've worked with, the systems that I've practiced and mastered. I've looked back at the essays that I have written, the people that have come and gone from my life over 43 years. 43 years. Yeah, I'm old. I'm getting there. I'm halfway through my life. And most of my life has been in the spiritual. 5 years old, 8 years old, 11 years old when I got into the practices. The last 6 years as a necromancer. Yeah, they've done a lot for me. Even my own mother has said she does not have to worry about me. My own father, which I never knew growing up. I've known him now for about 7 to 10 years. Looked at me and said, "You're the one son I don't have to look out for. I don't have to worry about you. You take care of yourself." That's coming from your mundane family. You look at your if you grew up in foster care, for an example, your foster mother would look at you and say, "You're stronger than I thought you were. I don't have to worry about you." That's because you had good teachers. You had good teachers. But when dealing with the demonic, it's a lot different. When you first begin, they will teach you a lot. They will take you by the hand. They will guide you to the materials and to the sources like a parent. But eventually they will cut and sever the umbilical cord, and you will be on your own. I've always said that things like the Grimoire traditions of the Rod of Power, for an example, I don't utilize that. I find it disrespectful to threaten a demon into submission. No, I've never had to do that with demons. When I work with demons, when I work with the Jinn, the Loa, the Orisha, it's mutual. I meet them on equal ground, ground of respect, humbleism. When you do a ritual, a ceremony, I invoke thee, I summon thee, I conjure thee. This is one thing. It's showing a sign of authority, like spitting rum into the Nganga or blowing smoke over the pedestal, the altar. Sign of authority and power. It is a sign of power. Being a warlock is being a rebel. Being well, let's just call it the way it is. Being a soldier that stands against tyranny. A lot of change is coming. Anybody who's sensitive to those energies will see it coming. More so, those that are observant are going to see it coming. And that's the ironic part because they did a toll. I want to say it was a few months back, and it showed that almost 64% of Americans believed it was time to take up arms against the US government. And yet you got all these dumbasses from other countries trying to come into America. Well, you're the land of the free. Bullshit. You have less laws than America does. In fact, roughly about 74 to 78% of Americans are incarcerated. And yet you claim this is the land of the free. No. This is the Fourth Reich. Why do you think terrorist cells target America? Ironically, they always target New York City. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why pick on them? Why pick on New Yorkers? I mean, seriously. But the point here is being that rebel, being the betrayer, the betrayed, breaking those chains. That is what this video is about. And this is the lessons that have been being put forth over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. The realizations of what needs to go. So when I was in there last night and I stated that clear as fucking day, I don't want this negativity in my life anymore. I don't want these obstructions. I want to grow, I want to mature, and I want to take my practices to a whole new level. Wow. I came out of there lightheaded, dizzy, literally trying not to puke my guts out, and let's just say shitting my brains out. It was literally that freaking violent. It lasted a good 2 to 3 hours, if not four. It happened just like that because of what went on in there. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Why? Because I made a decision. I made the choice. You see, that's why it's called personal responsibility. You are in charge of your own life. You are in charge of your own practices, your own evolution. I have a list of beings that I'm about to start working with, and I am looking forward to it because I want to go to a whole new heights. I want to evolve even more. And it's time to rid myself of things that don't matter, things that are no longer important to me, things that I don't need in my life. You see, that's making a choice. People hate EA co-wedding because of this one kid that was mentally unstable, went on a killing spree. All that took place was, oh, well, this kid visited his platform. Wow. But he also visited a terrorist group too. But yet the only group that got shut down was Bald. Why? Mm. Is it because they became the threat to the system? Definitely shows that they were the main target, not the kid. You notice nobody's really talked about this kid since he was arrested, put on trial. Not one fucking word. Not one fucking word towards that Islamic militant group that's supposedly here in America. Hmm. Recruiting rebels, radicals. Something of blood, if I remember correctly. But yet, E.A. Whiting was the one that was targeted. Hmm. I was asked and petitioned to do a video on John Ramirez. Not one, but two videos. I even replied to a couple of his followers, an individual videos, calling them out by their names. And get this, I've been called an antichrist, an arch devil, a demon, and evil. All because I called John Ramirez out on his bullshit and lies. I went through every video on YouTube. I even read his book. I used his own words, his ex followers, his ex congregants, a channel that was dedicated to exposing him as well. Even his own words in interviews. I played live right on the live video. His story changed left and right. And yet I'm the bad guy, the rebel, because I exposed his lies, making myself the target, making myself the adversary, the accuser, Ha Satan, El Shaitan. I am Satan, I am Lucifer, I am Belial, I am Leviathan. Turksuzij, the demonic Bible, the invocation of the four crowned princes of hell. Woo. Goes back even further. to the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. Hmm. And yet, these beings go back even further, all the way back to ancient Mesopotamian, Babylonia, Sumerian, Akkadia, ancient Sanskrit. In one form or another, you see these beings. And the definitions to their names change. But yet, when I look at my life, I see where I was up until about 6 years ago. The system that I got into 6 years ago, necromancy, began doing my journey into necromantic practices, rites, and historical accounts. A lot changed. I started pulling away from society. Why? Because I want nothing to do with it. There's nothing good there. Nothing good. You're either doing what you're told, meaning sheephood, or you rebel and become an outcast. Welcome to society, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what it is. It is religious, philosophical dogma. Damned if you do, and damned if you don't. You know what? I'm happy with being me. I'm happy working with these spirits. I delved into the ministry because it was a calling. I heard the calling of the Demerge. I heard the calling of the demonic. I heard the calling of the abyss. And I accepted. I answered. And I am glad that I did. I am glad that I did. Because that veil of lies, that veil of dogma, drama, subdivisions, segregation, the illusions that you're in control, they're all ripped apart, pulled back, revealed as bullshit, duality, and hypocrisy. I follow my own destiny. I choose my own way, and I chose the path of enlightenment. I chose the path of enlightenment because that is truth. Self evolution, self mastery, working with these beings not only show you who you are and what you're about, they remove the things that don't matter. If you think of a serpent shedding their skin, when a serpent reaches that state of shedding, the skin comes off and they become more beautiful. Their coat, their scales, they come out longer, a little bit longer, but their colors are magnificent. Like a caterpillar that becomes a butterfly. And no, I'm not talking about gays, bis, tris, pans, trans, or whatever the fuck that shit is that people are more engrossed in today. I'm talking about you becoming more, becoming better. That's what I've done. Evolution, self apotheosis, listening to the lessons and the guidance of the spirits. They don't steer you wrong. It is the best thing I ever did. It is the best thing that I have ever did. And I'm glad that I did. Now, can you say that you've done the same? Are you willing to do the same? You want peace in the world. You want peace in the world, but yet you go to war. You build guns to shoot people. You claim that you want change, but yet you have mass shootings. Hmm. You want free will, but yet you make laws to subjugate yourself. Hmm. Illusions of grandeur. Oh, we live in the land of free. You recite that fucking thing daily. Your children recite it daily in school, but yet they don't teach 99% of history. They teach a small amount to your children. You see what I mean? This is shit that is illusion. It's hypocrisy. Let's talk politics. But while we're talking politics, we're shipping bombs, weaponry over to Ukraine to wage war against Russia. We're supposed to be all equal, right? All equals. But yet we have borders for a reason, to keep people in segregation. Lies and hypocrisy on top of lies and hypocrisy. Duality. You're not free. You'll never be free until you break those chains. Belial is the breaker of chains. He is the giver of titles of importance. I look at how my jobs have increased, how they've grown, the titles given freely. I have no doubt that they were working for my betterment. As I rebelled, they rebelled in unison, common goals. No hypocrisy, no duality, no illusions of falsehoods. Do or don't. Do or don't. You rise by your own actions, or you fail on your own failures to act. Tella North, welcome. Godfrey 524, welcome. So yeah, so there's a lot of things that you notice, and I didn't mean to preach there, but it just occurred. My point is this, ladies and gentlemen, you, when you get tired of it, you're going to rise up. You will rebel and you will become hated. The question is, are you going to be okay with that? Are you okay putting together a life of solitude? Are you okay with being an outcast? Because I am. I don't give two shits what people do, say, or otherwise towards me. My mother just chimed in, talking. I asked her how my son was doing because he's out there today. Apparently, he's still thinking it's Halloween because he's running around in an Iron Man costume. We'll take it. I don't know what it is about costumes, but this kid loves it. So, anyways, so there. So, anyways, but when you work with these spirits and you petition them to do something, they will do it. You don't have a say in how they do it, but they do it. When you realize that your actions have consequences, but at the same time, your actions can either free you or condemn you. That is freedom. That is freedom. Because when you want freedom, and everybody wants freedom, right? Yeah, there we go. So everybody wants freedom. How do you get freedom? Do we do the Boston Tea Party, the American Revolution? Do we form factions against the government? Do we play politician? Why would you want to be a part of a system that is broken, that doesn't want to evolve? Truth is, I don't need the broken system. The one thing I've noticed is the government and the populace needs me more than I need them. Enlightenment. Perhaps that's why I've gotten into a strict diet, strict lifestyle over the last 6 years. Perhaps that's why I've been pulling away from social media sites. Started with getting out of groups that were full of children that didn't know what the fuck they were doing and didn't want to know what they were doing because they just wanted to belong. That's all they wanted to do was someplace to belong. You can have set rules and guidelines there, but nobody follows them, not even the admin. So what's the point of being in a group that way? Especially if you're looking to evolve and looking to grow as an individual, as a practitioner. You know, Godfrey, Talon North could have looked that up for them easily on Google. Takes a 2-second Google search. LSD is LDS is isn't just Latter Day Saints, but it's also a depiction of a drug too. Just to let you know, all it takes is a 2-second Google search. So, and Latter Day Saints is more closer to Masonic than Lodge than Mormonism. Think of them more as a combination or a crossbreed of, say, Catholic, Mormon, and Catholic, or not Catholic. Let's go with, how should I describe this to you? Latter day Saints is more charity work than anything, but they have a religious background that is more Baptist in nature. That's the best way I can put it to you, is they're more Baptist. Latter-day Saints is associated with certain Baptist groups, but they have outlook similar to that of the Catholicism version of Catholicdom. Think of the Masons going back the last few centuries. Their interest, their controlling interest. That's what Latter-day Saints is. They just have a different public appearance today than what they used to. Actually, that was Kirk that said that, not Spock. Just saying. They weren't in a bus. They were actually in a pickup truck. So you might want to, you know, research that. But anyways, my point is this: breaking of chains, ridding yourself of the negativity. That's what this time of year is about. It's about putting to death things that don't matter, things that just don't fucking matter, like jacking up prices. It's called consumerism, supply and demand. As long as the people are willing to pay ungodly fucking prices, those who put the products out can set the price at anything they want. This is why 2022 is the same as the 1980s, 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago. Do you have to be reminded yet again of Anton Zandaleve? Why would I go out to buy something I already have that's literally repackaged, renamed, and wrapped up in a pretty new bow? It's like acid wash jeans from the 80s and early 90s. They're coming back into popularity today, just like dressing head to toe in black. It's not just a Gothic thing, it's not just a Catholic thing. It's also a trend. Comes back and circles around every 30 to 40 fucking years. Again, supply and demand, consumerism. Observation of this will save you a lot of time. This is why people are leaving relationships. This is why people are growing their own foods. They're delving into how to make their own food. They're delving in to get away from all the fucking dyes and chemicals they're putting into things. The pesticides that they're using over plants, stuff that you are eventually going to ingest. And this is these. Then you wonder why there's more sub subservient behavior. You wonder why there's people are becoming more and more lazy. Well, think about it for just think about everything. And by the way, before you say anything, Elon Musk is no longer the richest man in the world. Buying Twitter literally broke him. I told you point blank, it's not going to end well. And guess what? Here we are a year later. Yep, 100 and some odd thousand people unemployed. Why? He couldn't hack it. It was the biggest mistake of his life. But guess what? Don't listen to practitioners. No. Listen to the government. Let them lead you like the little sheep that you are. They're your shepherds. So if you want to grow, you want to evolve, break the chains. Get rid of the negativity in your life. Self reflection, past, present, and future. Where do you want to be? What are your goals? What are your aims? That is what it comes down to. and then make it into a strict lifestyle. I choose to work with demons because they have never lied to me. I have more in common with spirits, such as the Loa, the Orisha, demons, than I do with the populace. I don't fit in with the populace because I don't know the latest trends. I don't know the latest gossips. I spend too much of my time in study and reflection and practice. I have no interest on what Kate Middleton and Prince What's His Face is doing. I don't give a flying fuck what the latest trend is in Hollywood, what the latest TV shows are. Who gives a shit? It's the same old shit, just another fucking day. You want to grow, you want to mature, you want to prosper. Get away from the bullshit. Get away from the lies. That's how you do it. You want to rebel? Become a rebel with a purpose. Become methodical. The greatest threat to the system is somebody who doesn't play by their rules. Somebody who doesn't give a shit what they fucking do. You know, I had this enemy once, and it was funny because this person kept saying weird shit, things that trying to, I believe the term is defamation of character, slander, creating drama, talking smack. Didn't matter what he said, didn't matter who he turned to, because every time people came to me, hey, have you heard what this person's saying about you? Well, here's my conversation with him. In fact, here's the conversation that others have had with this person. Wow. Stopped it dead in its tracks right there. I believe it was S. Conley who said it best. Why repeat the same thing when all you have to do is share a link? In this case, a photo says 1,000 words. Right there. Done. This person, from what I understand, has lost everything. Everything. But I don't care what happens to him. I really don't. I don't care what happens to him. I don't care where he is. I don't care what the fuck he's doing. I'm too busy fulfilling my life, fulfilling my studies, my enlightenment, my growth, walking my spiritual journey. That's the one thing I have in common with my elders. That's one thing I have in common with EA Coetti. We don't associate with our forums. We don't get into public dramas. And if we're going with Reverend Cesar 999's perspective, we don't associate with our enemies. And it's really sad to see so many people bringing this drama right back into their lives repeatedly, repeatedly. So the Yule solstice, ladies and gentlemen, is a time of reflection. It is a time where you look at your past, you look at your present, and then you look to the future and say, well, my past is a hindrance. My presence is a hindrance because of the past. Because all this anger, all this hatred, all this negativity, I am my own worst enemy. I'm holding myself back. Or the people that you surround yourself with is why nobody takes you seriously. If you look at it from a biblical point of view, you cannot serve God or mammon and mammon. You cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot, and this the reason for that is because you'll love the one and hate the other, or you'll hate the one and love the other. Okay, so if we take it from that perspective, how do you grow? How do you mature? How do you evolve as an individual? I'm not referring to the herd collective. I'm talking you as the individual. How do you choose to grow? How do you choose to mature? How do you choose to evolve? Are you going to rid yourself of the distractions? Are you going to rid yourself of all that negativity, all that stuff that is going to hinder you and prevent you from growing? I want you to take a good, strong look at your independent, individual life, from your practices to your career to your family. My biological family and I don't associate because it was a repeating trend. I stopped associating with them back in '07, '06, '07 area. Somewhere along the lines there, it just clicked. And I stopped buying into the bullshit and the lies. By 2013, I was associated with my father for a while. My biological father. I finally met him after 30 plus years of not having him in my life. And then the same traits started showing. So I walked away. You got all these promises, but yet not fulfilling them. Wow. You got all these people around you promising to watch your back, but yet they're the first ones to talk about you behind your back. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, they're still stuck in the muck. So the question is, what can you do for yourself? What can you do for yourself? Take that step back, reflect, find out what's best for you, and then put the rest to death. Bring forth the frozen lady of winter. Eliminate all that negativity and all that stupid shit that you don't need. And then look at the new year and go, I'm ready to face you. I'm ready to face that next year with honor, integrity, and respect. I'm ready to look at that future, that new year, and I got plans to work with all these spirits over the next couple of years. I'm going to walk with them, work with them, willing to do stuff for them in return for them doing the same for me. But how do we grow together? How do we mature together? Today, so many people are talking about communities. This is a this is a Christian concept. Community. There is no community, just subdivision within the borders. Doesn't matter if it's Vegas. Doesn't matter if it's Chicago. Doesn't matter if it's Miami. Doesn't matter if it's Washington, D.C. Doesn't matter if it's Paris. Doesn't matter if it's Moscow. Doesn't matter if it's Beijing or Tokyo. It does not matter. It's still there. People judging one another. People trying to control each other. power hungry, greedy bastards that don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. And then you got race, class, gender, everything in between, from the way you dress to the way you talk, your hairstyle. People don't like it. Fuck you. That's the way I look at it. I don't give a shit. It fits me. This hairstyle fits me. If I want to wear t-shirts and lounge pants going in town, guess what? I'm going to do that. My ex looked at me one day and said, I am so sick and tired of that fucking suit. I am sick and tired of that suit. It's ugly. You're ugly. The suit is something that I'm comfortable in. I like wearing a suit. But at the same time, I like wearing jeans. I like looking good. If you actually take notes from the animal kingdom, look at what's the latest thing these days that you see on things like TikTok and infomercials? Oh, right, venom. It's a type of pheromone, like hairspray or deodorant, but this is more perfume for males to attract females. Guess what? It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. According to the commercials, it says, and I quote, that women will not be able to keep their hands off you. I use it before I go into work. I use it before I go into town for shopping. I spray it on. I actually went out and purchased it. It does not work. Now let's go to a different topic. Let's go into dating sites. So many people are on dating sites now, wanting to find that person that they could spend their lives with. This is the only free keyword, free website that you can use. Plenty of Fish, Christian Mingle. What's that other one? There's so many of them that's out there nowadays. It's supposed to be free. You don't have to apply money. But wait, you don't have to apply money, right? Then why the fuck do you have to pay for coins? Why the fuck do you have to keep putting money forth for these sites? You see, it's called entrapment, ladies and gentlemen. They give you that false hope, and then they ensnare you. They get you talking to people, and all of a sudden, oh, by the way, you have to pay us to continue. Now think of Christians. Now think of Christianity. He's the only way. He's the only one that can help you. The only one that can help you. But wait for it. The other hand just dropped. You can't do it by yourself. You have to work with him. You see that psychological game, that ensnarement, that entrapment. Look at the populace. Every aspect from the government down, every fucking community, every fucking topic that you can think of from Hollywood. Everything is about glamour. It's about keeping you occupied. You are a sheep. That's all it is. That's all you are, sheep. You're a slave to the system. So, how do you break the chains and become an individual? How do you do it? When you get fed up with a point of, to the point where it's like I don't want nothing to do with this fucking world no more. Nothing good is there. Then and only then can you begin to tear everything down. Burn down the world around you to begin to create. In cartomancy, modern day tarot cards, there's a major arcana card that's called the Tower. Now, basically, the purpose of the Tower is to enlighten you. For something to be created, something has to be destroyed. Something has to be destroyed so that you can create. Ironic, isn't it? And yet the hermit is carefree. The hermit is carefree. Why? Because he's not just a hermit, he's also the Hierophant, the magician. The Hierophant is full of wisdom, knowledge, like the Magi, the necromancer, the warlock, the witch of old, the Hexa, the Strega, the Agi, and the Agi, the Yeshi. But yet, the magician can manipulate a system to their benefit. Hmm. So why is nobody learning? Why is nobody growing? Is it because you've been so sensitized that you can't do anything? You have to ask permission to wipe your own ass? Hmm. Wow. By me saying this, I'm the threat. I'm the evil one. Not Gonna Die Today is the name of a song put forth by a band called Skillet. Now, personally, I was a big fan of Skillet and still am. I'm a big fan of that band, and I can freely admit that. But here's the kicker: most people do not realize it. They're a Christian band. They are a Christian band. When I first heard that, I was like, "What? Seriously? Wow." Well, it doesn't come down to their religion. No, it comes down to what kind of people they are. From what I understand, ladies and gentlemen, the drummer of that band is really down to earth. From what I understand, they're very polite, quiet, humble people. Too bad most of Christianity isn't. They could probably take some cues from that band, but that's just me, though. So my phone just was vibrating, and it was just showing me from T-Mobile. And T-Mobile, we all know this cell phone plan. This cell phone group. Prime example of what I'm saying here. Congratulations, M. Hyson. You have been you basically what it's saying is how should I put this forth? You have won the latest phone that is being put out, the latest phone. But as soon as you click on that link, guess what? You have to fill out forms. You got to fill out all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden, oh, we need your credit card to confirm your credit card number. You're gonna have to purchase a plan with it. Well, if it's phone, a free phone, then why the fuck do I have to pay for it? again, ensnarement. Prime example, and it just came through on my phone. Ironic, right? But I also replied to my mother too. So it's kind of funny. So many people are in the muck. So many people are hung up on the world. You don't see the lies. You don't see the betrayals, but yet you're willing to bitch about it. Well, guess what? Belial, he who has no master, mm, breaker of chains, teacher, guide, giver of familiars. Man, I can't wait to work with him again. In fact, I've already drawn his seal. I've already begun taking notes, doing my research into him again, because it's been such a long time since I've worked with him. I'm going through multiple different types of works. So there it is. I am free. What is freedom? The realization that the world is set against you. They betray you. People betray you. Demons don't. Fact. But yet, because you choose to be a Satanist, you choose to be a necromancer, you choose any path that is not Christian, you're considered evil. Keeping that segregation going, keeping that enflarement, that enflarement of power, greed, stature, right and wrong, good or evil, thought form going. Even in Christianity, there's subdivisions, segregation. They're attacking each other and the world at the same time. And there's an old expression that's in the Bible, and I want you to consider this. It's Matthew chapter 7, verse 2. Before you can remove the speck from your brother's eye, you must first remove the big wooden log from your own. That is the King James Version, by the way. So if you take that into consideration, judge not that ye not be judged. Then why the fuck are you judging everybody? Is that not called hypocrisy? Go forth preaching, but yet don't turn away little children. Hmm. Ironic, isn't it? Jesus never turned away the multitudes that followed him. But yet modern day Christians will sit there and go, "Yeah, we welcome you with open arms. Come into the fold. We'll love you." Oh, you're not going to do what we tell you to do? Fuck off. You're now being shunned. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. But yet if you go into any parish, you'll notice that there's subdivisions even within every congregation. Every congregation. The elders, from the minister down to the deacons, they hang out with themselves. The youth hang out with themselves. You have the senior citizens that sit there and talk and gossip about everybody. You got those who sneak behind everybody's backs. Oh yeah, it's that's everything right there. And it's funny because of the fact that people want to be a part of this stuff. They want to keep it going, but yet they want to change it. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Truth, mantra. How does that work? A mantra is a phrase that helps you get into a certain mind state. For an example, if you're trying to meditate, one of the things that will help you in Buddhism and Hinduism practices, not just yogic or tantric practices of meditation, is getting yourself into the correct posture. When you begin to say a certain phrase, a mantra, for an example, you are getting yourself into that state of mind to work in that system. Say, for an example, if we're talking, let's look at it from a wolf pack, for an example. Okay. We know that there are three types of positions within a wolf pack. You have the alpha, which rules the pack, the beta, which follows the orders of the alpha, and then you have those that are considered to be the omegas, those that work alone, the outcast. So if we take a mantra and we put this together, alpha, beta, omega, okay? Alpha, beta, omega. Or if you want to get into the truth, and there are three things: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Hinduism. Two types of mantras right there that allow you to focus your mind, to allow you to get into a mind state of relaxation, visual states of mind. There are exercises out there that allow you to apply visual techniques through your third eye, psychic, if you will, to be able to move out into your spiritual altar. Okay. If you have an altar set up, picture your, I believe it was Christopher Penziak that had the best one that I've come across. And it was very easy. Very, very easy. And a lot of people make it to be complex. It's really not. Picture a screen in front of you, like you would put on a screen door. From there, see yourself going through that. Picture yourself going through that. You appear in a forest. You see yourself standing at a big, big tree. And as you gain at the base of the tree, you see a big hole. You see yourself walking into it, seeing that, depicting that spiral staircase, and you see yourself going up that staircase, and you come through an opening at the tree section, and within that tree section, it's wide open and an astral plane. But your altar is the exact same altar that you would have in your temple. And then it's just a matter of breathing. It's a matter of visualizing what you're doing. Void meditation. Void meditation was actually described as zeroing yourself out. Okay. Best way I can describe that to you. A mantra is a phrase, a certain phrase that would allow you to connect with that current, to get into that meditative and visualization technique. Okay. That state of mind. A N, on the other hand, is a the N, on the other hand, is a state that it's a phrase that allows you to connect to a specific spirit. Like I'm gonna do one from E.A. Quiding's book here. Um, it's Racha Balail. Okay, or let's go with Works of Darkness. Kalima. Two N's that E.A. Quiding put forth in his books. Now, if you're a Satanist, one of my favorites is In nomine Satanae Luciferi Excelsi. In nomine Dinostri Satanae Luciferi Excelsi. Repeating that over and over again allows you to connect with that current. Whereas, say for an example, In nomine Dei Nostri Spiritus Monte Est, and then saying that spirit's name would be an N. Okay, that N allows you to connect with spirit, whereas a mantra helps you get into a specific mind state, a type of focus. And yes, mantra is something that is very old. It has been used for over 800 years, most likely even longer. I believe it actually goes back as far as the ninth century, if I'm not mistaken, which is actually Sanskrit, to be precise. But it's not just Sanskrit, it's also in Arabic as well. Now, if you think about what this allows you to do, especially with the lessons of spirits, let's take it from Belial for an example. He's a teacher, right? Well, one of the things that Belial taught me in the past was you have to give up everything, destroy everything that is holding you back. I didn't realize at the time that that was basically breaking the chains. There are things that hold you back, things that keep you down, keep you from growing and maturing. Later, when I began working with him again, then I realized, wow, you're a very powerful being. I want to work with you. I want to call you forth. And I started using the grimoire traditions. But then I realized I don't have to threaten you. You're a friend, you're an ally. You're trying to work with me and I want to work with you. So here I am now working with him yet again. Fourth time in over almost four generations. I'm 43 years old. Started when I was 11. 43 years old. That's over three generations. Almost four. Damn, that's a long time. Kind of puts the things in perspective of what's really important. But I wanted to put this out there because I wanted you to see this is what Yule is about, but also I am getting ready to go into this. Showed you the seal that I drew. That was freehand, by the way, and I think I did pretty good on the circle freehand because normally I would use something like a cereal bowl, flip it upside down, trace around it, flip it so the base is down, and then do it that way, and then draw the seal in the center, write in the name of the spirit around it inside the in between those two circles. That's normally how I would do it, but I actually did this freehand. I haven't done freehand since I broke my thumb. It's been a long time because I'm no longer using my right hand, I'm using my left. So it kind of shows you the evolutionary scale. You learn and you grow. So instead of using your right hand, being a right-handed person, you become a lefty. But wait, you're able to do things with both hands, so that makes you ambidextrous. That is rare in culture today. That basically makes you a genius. Ironic, isn't it? But that comes with wisdom and knowledge. Well, if you actually look at the mind and you break down the mind, from the left lobe to the right lobe, you'll notice that each section of the brain has let's call it a purpose, a function. So if you switch solely over to the left, you're ridding yourself of qualities that will benefit you from the right hand path, the right hand aspect of the lobe. So let's say, for an example, you want to be a black magician, you want to be a warlock, you want to be somebody that is powerful. Yes, you learn the black arts, you learn how to destroy, jinx, curse, hex somebody. You learn things like powders and alchemy. But along the way, you realize it's no longer about being that destructive force. You look at what you're capable of doing. Okay. Every tome from, let's go with Nicholas Remy's book, for an example. Chapter one speaks of three powders that were found and documented from the church, meaning the Catholics. Okay. Catholicism. Black powder, which kills. An amber or oval, an amber colored powder that makes somebody sick. And then a white powder that heals. These were three items that were found on just about every accused witch. Ironically, most of them were women. About 97 to 98% were women in his book. They were documented as witches, confessed witches, tortured, and put to death. Now, what was interesting here is the one common thread is that they worked with demons. The demons taught them. Go back into the Book of Enoch. Azazel taught men how to forge weapons, alchemy, giving mankind fire, just like Prometheus. They were both punished. Think about it. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind so that they can be warm. They can do things with it. His punishment was to be chained to a mountain for all eternity, to be reanimated, form of necromancy. His liver and organs would be and eyeballs would be eaten on a daily basis by vultures, only to be reanimated and go through that hell again. Ironic, this is how the image of hell is, right? Dante's Inferno states that each level of hell is worse than the last. But yet, if you go back to the old Persephone, Astarte, Ishtar stories and myths, the journey into the underworld makes you more and more pure. Lucifer dared to question and was tossed out of heaven. Now he's the emperor in the underworld. Hmm. An archangel, the first, he who was most beautiful, shined the brightest in the sky, was associated with Venus, the morning star, the day star in ancient Greek, associated with the sun, much like Ra or Apollo, Inti, Belobog, Persephone, Phosphorus, for an example, just to name off a couple. But yet, history has been filled with beings that have a superior, just like in the book of Tobit, where Raphael ruled over Asmodeus. Wow. You want to have power over Asmodeus? Go to Raphael. Wow. Ironic how that is, right? And this is what people today view it as dominating a spirit, dominating each other, dominating by any means necessary. And yet these spirits are teaching you to be free from that system, free from those lies. Mm, yeah. I wasn't like I said, I wasn't planning on doing any videos until next week, if not next month sometime. But this was something that came upon me last night, and it's been on my mind since. So I thought I'd do this video kind of saying, "Hey, this is what happens when you're led by the Spirit. This is what happens when you have a possession state." And that's exactly what it was a partial possession. I had been chanting, I had been doing prayers and worship beforehand, going into that meditative state, calling forth the spirits, stating my intentions upon what was going on, and then coming out and being that violently ill for a few hours, few short hours. But then you have what came after, the thoughts, the realizations, the enlightenment. Welcome to spiritualism. I want to thank Tala North for jumping on here, Godfrey 524 for jumping on here with me, and Pharaoh Stiller for jumping on here with me. For the rest of you that have been on here, thank you for coming on and listening. Um, if you want, for those of you coming on, I know you probably don't understand what's going on, and you'll learn as you go. Take notes. Remember that whatever you preach, back it up with numerous sources, and always make yourself available to the public because you are responsible for the things you do and say. And what I mean by being answering to the public, you have to remember that throughout history, the witch or the warlock was associated, depending on the culture, a huge influence on the cultures themselves. In African-based tribal, lifestyles, the sorcerer or sorceress lived right next to the king of that tribe, and nothing would be done without that first consulting that witch, that warlock. Okay, or if you're talking European-based cultures, the hexa, the shaman, the necromancer. I mean, look at the stories in the Bible. King Saul going to the Witch of Endor, or seeking out the spirits such as the angels, Abraham to Michael, you know, seeing how the man dominates the woman in the household. Therefore, Sarah was punished for giggling in the tent. Or how about the spirit of a so called God visiting Paul, the apostle, in the New Testament? How about Gabriel, another archangel who went to Joseph, telling him to accept Mary, even though she was already impregnated, or modern day linguistic raped by their God, okay, to bring forth Jesus, okay? Every culture has a practitioner that lived either next to the king, just on the outskirts of a village, or out in the boondocks, such as Baba Yaga in Slavic mythology, okay? Every being, person that deals with spiritualism deals with spirits, going as far back as the Shem priesthood, the Hashishin, the Knights of Templar, Catholics, mainstream JCI, Hebrews, Jewish customs. They all deal with spiritualism. They all have forms of possession. They all talk about it, but yet they keep that subdivision, segregation. Everybody else is wrong, we are right. When you move past that dogma, you move past that closed-mindedness, that hypocrisy, that duality, and you start learning for yourself, then you realize, wow, all these sources speak to the same thing. So if all these sources speak to this one topic, and you're claiming that you're the only one that speaks truth, no, that makes you a fucking liar. That makes you a slave master. You want me or somebody else coming into your church going, "Hey, you're gonna leave all that occult paraphernalia at the door. You're gonna give me 3 years of your life, do things my way. You're gonna serve my God, and you're gonna dress the way I tell you. You're not dressed good enough. Let's get you a proper razor." Really? Where's that in the Bible? Hmm. Who says you're right or wrong? You go back into the ancient cults, such as the cult of Anubis, the cult of Artemis. You look at the rites that they performed. Not once does it say you have to dress a certain way, to look a certain way. What they do describe is different levels of priesthood, much like a military ranking system. Each member of the priesthood or that faction had a different responsibility. One dealt solely with the public, another one kept with the worshiping of the spirits, another one kept the temple clean, another one did the rites and sacred rites, such as the embalming procedures and the mummification of the deceased. Another one was responsible for the overall temple. This is what history has shown. Archaeology, mythology, history, folklore, world history. Then you got Christians who think that they are right and everyone else is wrong. And yet culture goes with them. Why? It's because they've been enslaved. They want a place to belong. They don't want to be individuals. People have become accustomed to being told what to do, how to behave. There's no longer free will. There's no longer freedom, just slavery. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's a different era, a new generation, the same old shit, wrapped up in a pretty new bow. So backing up what you preach not only puts into perspective, hey, all these sources speak to the same thing. So how can you be the only one that's right? And by being available to the public, you're showing them, yeah, you want to consider me a rebel? So be it. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I mean, even the church showed three things, three different classifications. Priests were considered, like monks, were considered to be able to be the only ones that will not get corrupted by performing the rites and rituals of magic. The white light practitioners had to go to the church to ask for permission. And the outcast, the black magi, the black magician, who basically told the church, fuck off, fuck you. We're going to do and practice what we want. And yet they were the ones that were hunted down, slaughtered, because they spoke out against the dogma. They spoke out against the tyranny, slavehood. History is there for you to learn from. If you send your kids to school, they only learn a small amount. What the government and the church wants you to learn. Delve into history for yourself. Delve into archaeology for yourself. Delve into folklore and mythology for yourself. No one else is going to do it. Only you. That is why the left hand path is the path of individually. It is the path of the individual, not the herd conformity. We are not Christians. We are not of that dogmatic religion. And yet, so many of the culture today is following the same standards as Christianity. Mm. The Satanic Temples mandates we're doing this for the good of all Satanists. But yet, their newsletters, our members' rights are being violated. We feel our members' rights are being violated. But yet, hey, we're suing over abortion rights. It's called Look at Me. I'm a tough guy. I'm the devil. No, you're a rebel without a cause. You want to become a rebel with a cause? Maybe you want to redefine your own life. Maybe you want to look at where your life is and how you got to this point. What is it you see? Where do you see yourself down the road? Where do you want to be? This is what I'm saying. The lessons of the spirits, of the demonic, will enlighten you in ways the world will not. They have no reason to lie. In fact, I've trusted the spirits on numerous occasions when the world sat there and said, well, if you do this, you're not going to have that car coming back. By some chance, that gets you down there, you're not going to have it coming back. Well, guess what? I've gone 2,995 miles with a vehicle before, metal on metal, plus a week. And that was just one way from South Tucson to Bangor, Maine, plus a week. I pulled my car into the garage, tapped the brake once, the back right tire froze up permanently. Even the mechanic said that you had somebody looking out for you. Wow. So if you are Satan, does that make 6 to 7 billion Satans in the world? Hmm. You see that dogma, that hypocrisy, that duality. You claim to serve the spirits, but yet you claim to be those spirits. Does not work that way. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Learn from the spirits, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be better off. Do it for you and nobody else. All right? With that said, have a good day, and until next time.